What happened to female pirates after capture will leave you astonished. Captain Cellini's ship, the Night Sparrow, glided silently through the asteroid belt near the outskirts of the Orion Expanse. Its hull was dark, sleek, and almost invisible against the cosmic backdrop. Cellini stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the radar displays. "Sector looks clear," her first mate Lyra reported. She tapped a sequence on the console, and a holographic map of nearby trade routes floated in the air. "No patrol ships. We have a straight shot at the transport convoy." Cellini's lips curved into a faint smile. "Perfect," she said, her voice calm but edged with excitement. "Let's make this quick and clean. We're not here to start a war, just collect what we need." Her crew of female pirates moved with a quiet confidence that came from years of experience. Each of them had a specialty. Lyra was a navigation genius, Kale handled communications and hacking, and Myra was the engineer who could fix or sabotage almost anything mechanical. Together, they were a team that had outsmarted countless hunters and rivals across the galaxy. The convoy appeared on the radar like a line of twinkling lights moving in formation. 3 ships, large and bulky, carrying valuable supplies between human colonies. Cellini's eyes narrowed. "Remember," she said, "precision over force. We want their cargo, not their ship. Make sure they know we're professionals." The Night Sparrow's engines hummed softly as it approached the convoy from a blind spot. Cellini could see the transport ship's shields glowing faintly, reflecting the starlight. The pirates had planned this for weeks, mapping every possible escape route. "Approach vector in position," Lyra confirmed. "Ready on your mark." Cellini nodded. "Mark." The Night Sparrow drifted closer, and Kale's fingers flew over the controls, sending a series of pulses that would temporarily disable the convoy's external sensors. For a few precious minutes, the pirates could operate unseen. Myra activated the boarding pods, small pods that could attach magnetically to the transport ships. "Pods ready," she announced. "We can board in 60 seconds." Cellini took a deep breath, feeling the familiar thrill of a plan unfolding perfectly. "Let's make it clean, ladies. Move fast, grab the supplies, and back out before anyone realizes we're here." The boarding pods detached silently, gliding toward the first transport ship. Inside, Cellini and her team prepared themselves. They wore lightweight suits that would protect them from the vacuum of space, but allow flexibility for movement. Each carried a small toolkit designed for opening cargo holds quietly. As the pods latched onto the hull of the transport ship, Cellini glanced at her crew. "Stick to the plan, quick and precise." The magnetic clamps engaged and the pods clicked into place. The pirates silently moved along the outer hull, checking for weak points. Lyra took the lead, scanning the ship for any hidden security measures. "Nothing major," she whispered. "Looks like their systems are standard, easy pickings." Cellini nodded, signaling Myra to activate the boarding mechanism. A panel slid open, revealing the cargo hold. The pirates moved inside, carefully lifting crates and examining the contents. There were containers of rare minerals, medical supplies, and some experimental tools. Each crate was valuable, but none were dangerous. "This is good," Cellini murmured. "Exactly what we need." Kale tapped at a terminal, disabling the internal communications of the transport ship. "They won't be calling anyone for help for the next 10 minutes, she said. "That's our window." But just as Cellini reached for another crate, a sudden alarm blared. A red light flashed across the hold. "Sensors," Kale exclaimed. "They have automated detection we didn't know about." Before anyone could react, the ship's AI activated defensive measures. Mechanical arms moved to block the intruders, and a gentle but firm force field appeared, containing the pirates in one section of the cargo hold. Cellini frowned. "Stay calm. We can handle this." "Lyra, find a way to bypass the field." Lyra's fingers flew over her portable console, trying to hack into the ship's AI. "It's smarter than we thought. It's not just following commands, it's learning our movements." Selene took a step back and assessed the situation. The AI was adaptive, but it wasn't perfect. It's learning, that's good. That means it has rules. We just need to find the loophole. Kale grinned, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I love a good puzzle. Myra worked on a small access panel, inserting her tools to override the local systems. The force field shimmered, fluctuating as the AI resisted. Finally, with a soft beep, the barrier disappeared. Got it, Myra exclaimed. We're back in business. Selene motioned to the crew to continue. Grab what you can and get out, fast. They moved quickly, loading the last crates into their pods. Everything was going smoothly, until the largest transport ship in the convoy altered its course. Massive engines flared, and the ship moved to block the Night Sparrow's escape route. Selene cursed under her breath. They spotted us faster than we thought. Lyra, plot a new exit route. Kale, scramble their sensors again. The pirates worked in perfect synchrony. Lyra found a narrow passage between two asteroids where the Night Sparrow could slip through. Kale sent pulses to confuse the transport's AI, creating temporary blind spots. Myra prepared the engines for a sudden burst. On my mark, Selene said. 3, 2, 1, mark. The Night Sparrow's engines roared as the ship shot forward, narrowly squeezing between two massive asteroids. Behind them, the transport's AI tried to adjust, but the pirates were already gone, invisible among the stars. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Selene allowed herself a small smile. Well done, she said. This was clean, professional, exactly what we planned. The crew exchanged relieved grins. That was almost too easy, Lyra said, shaking her head. I expected more trouble. Selene leaned back in her chair, gazing at the stars. Sometimes the stars favor those who prepare, she said. But don't get comfortable. There will be consequences for this. Someone will come looking for us. And Selene knew she was right. Humans were clever, persistent, and resourceful. They didn't forgive easily. As the Night Sparrow glided through the void, carrying its precious cargo, Selene felt a mixture of triumph and caution. They had won this raid, but in the vast reaches of space, every action had a reaction. Little did the pirates know that the real challenge was just beginning. A human patrol ship, sleek and heavily armed, had detected the disturbance in the convoy's network. It was now tracking the Night Sparrow, moving faster than anything the pirates had faced before. Selene stared at the approaching blip on her radar. Her heart raced, not with fear but with excitement. All right, ladies, she said, looks like our next adventure has already found us. The crew tightened their grips on the controls. The Night Sparrow turned, accelerating into the void, weaving between asteroid fields, its engines blazing softly against the darkness. The chase had begun, and for Captain Selene and her crew, the thrill of the unknown was just the beginning of a journey that would test every skill, every instinct, and every bond they shared. Above all, Selene knew one truth. Humans were clever, and they would not underestimate another human, especially a human like her. And somewhere in the distance, the patrol ship closed in, unaware that the pirates it pursued were about to show that survival, ingenuity, and courage could turn the tables in ways no one expected. The Night Sparrow drifted silently, its sleek hull hidden among the asteroid field. But no matter how clever the pirates thought they were, humans had a way of finding even the most invisible prey. A sharp beam of light cut through the darkness, and a massive patrol ship emerged. Its hull gleamed like silver and its engines glowed with a power that made Selene's crew pause. They had been detected. Too fast, Lyra muttered, tapping her console frantically. They're closing in. We can't outrun them in this sector. Selene's jaw tightened. Prepare for docking. Keep calm. They might want to capture, not destroy. The Night Sparrow's engines powered down as the patrol ship approached. With a magnetic lock, the pirate's vessel was drawn into the patrol ship's docking bay. Inside, the space was cold and brightly lit, full of strange machinery and consoles that hummed with energy. The pirates, for the first time in a long while, were no longer in control. A tall officer, uniform crisp and polished, stepped forward. "Captain Cellini, I presume." His voice was calm, but there was authority in every word. "You and your crew are under our custody. You will be treated with fairness, but you must cooperate." Cellini glanced at her crew. Lyra's eyes met hers, tense but trusting. Kale and Myra adjusted their stances, ready for anything. Cellini's lips curved into a polite smile. "Understood," she said. "We are willing to cooperate." The officer led them to a room that looked more like a high-tech classroom than a prison cell. Transparent walls displayed stars outside and soft lights illuminated the interior. There were chairs, consoles, and strange devices that pulsed gently. "You will answer questions," the officer explained. "Nothing harmful will be done. But we need information about your raid, your strategies, and your crew." Cellini's mind raced. She could sense the opportunity in front of her. The humans weren't cruel, they were precise, logical, and they wanted intelligence, not revenge. If she played this right, she could turn the situation to her advantage. "Of course," she said. "We'll answer as best we can." The interrogation began simply. Questions about their route, the techniques used to bypass the transport convoys systems, and their motivations. The crew answered with careful honesty, avoiding unnecessary details. "Why do you attack human transport ships?" the officer asked. Cellini paused. "We don't attack for cruelty. We attack because survival in the outer sectors requires resources. Many colonies leave areas unmonitored, and we take only what we need to sustain our crew. No one starves when we are done." The officer nodded, as if considering her words carefully. "And yet, you risk capture." Cellini leaned forward. "The risks are calculated. Every action has a reason. Every decision is thought through. That is why we succeed as often as we do." The officer remained silent, tapping a few keys on a console. A holographic screen displayed various patterns of the pirates' recent actions across the galaxy. "Your tactics are unusual," the officer finally said. "Your crew works as a unit, but each member shows high individual skill. How do you train them?" Cellini smiled faintly. "We learn from experience. Everyone has a talent, and we let each one grow. When you combine the right skills in the right team, the impossible becomes routine." The officer studied her intently. "Your intelligence and adaptability are remarkable. You and your crew are unusual among pirate groups. Most are impulsive. Most are careless." Cellini met his gaze steadily. "Then perhaps we are not like the others. Perhaps we are different because we think before we act." Lyra whispered to Cellini as they were moved to another room. "They're testing us, not just for answers, but for how we react." "Every word, every gesture counts." Cellini nodded subtly. "Exactly. Let's make them believe we are cooperative, but we observe them too. Knowledge is power." The next few hours were a mix of questioning and observation. The humans asked about security measures, tactical choices, and even small engineering decisions on the Night Sparrow. Kale demonstrated some of the ship systems, carefully omitting certain features, while Myra answered questions about the ship's mechanical design. Lyra provided details on navigation strategies, always keeping one step ahead in her explanations. Even as they spoke, the pirates learned. They noted the patterns of the humans questioning, the way the consoles operated, the logic behind every security measure. This wasn't just an interrogation, it was a lesson, and Cellini's crew absorbed it quickly. When the officer paused, Cellini took a calculated risk. "You value intelligence, strategy, and skill, but what do you plan to do with us? Punishment? Imprisonment?" The officer's eyes narrowed slightly. "We do not punish without purpose. We value skill, resourcefulness, and courage. We see potential in you. The question is whether you wish to use it for survival or something greater." Cellini exchanged glances with her crew. Potential. That word sparked a mixture of curiosity and cautious hope. She spoke carefully. "What do you mean by something greater?" The officer gestured toward a holographic projection. It displayed a fleet of human ships engaged in defense operations across several sectors. Our colonies are under threat from forces that seek to disrupt, destroy, or control them. We need individuals who can think, adapt, and act beyond ordinary capability. You and your crew have demonstrated these qualities. There is a place for you not as criminals but as defenders. The pirates fell silent. This was more than they had expected. Survival was one thing, but being offered purpose, respect. It challenged everything they had known. Selene broke the silence. And if we refuse? You will remain in our custody, the officer replied evenly. There is no malice, but you will not leave until a decision is made. You must choose. The crew huddled briefly. Lyra spoke first. We can't just wait. They are offering a chance to do something meaningful. But can we trust them? Selene considered this. Humans were clever, yes, and cautious, but they valued honesty and skill. We watch them closely, she said. We learn, we adapt, and if the opportunity is real, we take it. Kale's eyes sparkled with excitement. I like challenges, she said, and this is bigger than any raid we've done. Myra nodded, adding, if we succeed, we could be more than survivors. We could actually matter in the galaxy. Selene felt a surge of pride in her crew. They had faced danger countless times, but this was different. It was a test of character, intelligence, and trust, and she knew they were ready. The officer observed the crew closely. We will give you time to decide. In the meantime, you will remain here. Training and observation will continue. You will learn our methods and we will see how you adapt. Selene raised an eyebrow. Training? Observation? Yes, the officer said, not as punishment, but to see how well you respond to guidance, instruction, and coordination within a human-led operation. The results will determine your role. The crew settled into the room, a mix of anticipation and curiosity filling the air. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the vastness of space and the challenges that lay ahead. Selene leaned back in her chair. We survived raids, ambushes, and traps. We outsmarted convoys and outmaneuvered patrols. Now we have something different, an opportunity to survive and thrive in a new way. Let's learn, observe, and be ready. Hours passed as the pirates began to familiarize themselves with the environment. The consoles, the holographic displays, the subtle security measures. They watched and learned. Every detail could become a tool or an advantage. For the first time, Selene felt a strange mix of excitement and respect for her captors. Humans were clever, but they were fair in a way that pirates rarely encountered. They did not rely on brute force. They relied on observation, logic, and intelligence. And in this, Selene saw a mirror of her own crew. This is only the beginning, she whispered to herself. We may be prisoners now, but soon we will have a choice, and when that time comes, we will not falter. Outside, the patrol ship glided silently among the stars. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and full of challenges, but Captain Selene and her crew had faced the impossible before. And now, captured yet unharmed, they were about to learn that being clever, adaptable, and courageous could open doors they had never imagined. In the quiet hum of the ship, the pirates prepared. They would observe, they would learn, and they would adapt. And when the moment came to choose their path, they would do so with the confidence that no one, not even the humans, could underestimate their abilities. The stars outside remained silent witnesses. The game had changed, and Captain Selene's crew was ready to play. Days passed in the high-tech observation facility. The human officers had not locked Selene and her crew in cells. Instead, they were given a room filled with consoles, holographic displays, and equipment that challenged the pirates' skills. It was a strange mixture of comfort and restriction, freedom without escape. Selene studied the facility carefully. Every wall, every display, every moving part was designed to observe, to measure, and to test. She understood one thing clearly: this was more than a holding cell. It was an experiment. You think they'll let us go eventually? Myra asked as she adjusted a holographic interface. Her fingers moved deftly, testing the system's responsiveness. Selene shook her head. I don't know, but this is not just about letting us go or keeping us here. It's about what they want to learn from us and what we can learn from them. Lyra leaned back, her eyes scanning the patterns on the console. It feels almost like training, but we're not being told exactly what the goal is. Exactly, Selene said. And that is why we observe, adapt, and make sure we control what we can. The human officer returned, standing at the doorway with a calm, measured presence. Captain Selene, crew, he said, we have been observing your capabilities. Your success in strategy, engineering, and teamwork is remarkable. We have a proposal. Selene raised an eyebrow. Proposal, the officer nodded. We can continue to treat you as captives, or you may participate in a program designed to turn highly skilled individuals into defenders of human colonies. You will not be prisoners. You will train, you will learn, and your skills will be applied for purposes greater than survival. Selene and her crew exchanged glances. The offer was unexpected. It was a path that promised freedom, but also responsibility. What exactly would we be doing? Lyra asked cautiously. You would learn advanced strategies in navigation, communication, and conflict resolution, the officer explained. You would train with human technology that enhances efficiency and precision. And eventually, you would participate in missions that protect colonies from external threats. This is not punishment, this is transformation. Kale's eyes lit up with curiosity. Transformation? You mean we'd become part of your operations? Yes, the officer said. We seek individuals who can think, adapt, and act beyond ordinary ability. Your previous experience shows you are capable of extraordinary results when under pressure. Selene's mind raced. She had never expected to be offered a chance to turn from a pirate into something respected, valued, even heroic. It was an opportunity and it was risky. We need time to consider, Selene said finally. Of course, the officer replied. In the meantime, you may begin familiarizing yourselves with the technology and methods we will use. Observation and understanding are part of the process. The crew spent hours exploring the facility. Holographic maps projected entire star systems, showing trade routes, colonies, and asteroid belts. Consoles displayed intricate simulations of missions, each requiring careful planning and execution. This is amazing, Myra whispered, tracing her fingers over the interactive display. I've never seen technology like this. It's precise, elegant, and so efficient. Selene nodded. And it's also a tool. Everything here is designed for a purpose. We need to understand it, adapt it, and decide if we will use it or resist it. Kale was already testing communication systems, sending signals between simulated ships. It's impressive, she said, but it's predictable in a way. Once you understand the logic, you can anticipate outcomes. Lyra studied the maps and mission simulations. They think they're teaching us, but we're learning too. Every pattern, every rule, they're showing us how humans solve problems. We just need to notice and apply it creatively. Selene smiled faintly. Exactly. Observation is the first skill of every successful strategist. The officer returned in the evening. Tomorrow begins your first formal exercise, he said. It will be a simulation of a human colony under threat. You and your crew will be responsible for devising a plan to protect the colony and secure its resources. You may use any methods you see fit, provided you stay within the simulation. Selene's crew prepared with care. They reviewed the facility, studied the simulations, and discussed strategies. Each member brought their unique expertise to the table. Lyra for navigation and planning, Kale for communication and coordination, Myra for engineering solutions, and Selene for overall leadership. When the simulation began, the holographic colony appeared in three-dimensional form. Asteroid belts, Energy grids and supply depots glowed faintly in the projection. "You are in charge," the officer said. "The scenario will challenge your problem-solving, teamwork, and adaptability. There is no single solution. You must decide how to act." Selene assessed the colony carefully. "We need to protect resources first," she said. "Then ensure mobility, communication, and flexibility. Every threat has a counter, but only if we anticipate it." Lyra nodded. "I can map escape routes, emergency supply lines, and areas of vulnerability." Kale added, "I'll monitor communications and adjust signals to confuse potential threats. Information control is key." Myra focused on energy and structural systems. "I'll handle power grids, shields, and mechanical defenses. The colony must function even under stress." The simulation began, presenting unexpected challenges. Sudden environmental changes, power fluctuations, and unexpected obstacles that required quick thinking. Selene and her crew adapted rapidly, combining their skills to maintain control over the colony and protect its critical resources. Hours passed as the pirates navigated the simulation. Each problem tested their abilities, but their teamwork and ingenuity shone. They used unconventional methods, turning constraints into advantages and finding solutions that human designers had not anticipated. The officer observed quietly, his expression unreadable. When the simulation ended, he finally spoke. "Impressive. Your approach was creative, effective, and efficient. You did not follow expected protocols, you created new ones. This is exactly the kind of adaptability we seek." Selene allowed herself a small smile. "Thank you. We've learned to work with constraints, and sometimes that gives us an advantage." The officer nodded. "Tomorrow, you will begin the next exercise. It will be more complex, with multiple simultaneous challenges. You will be expected to coordinate under pressure, make decisions quickly, and optimize resources effectively. Each exercise is designed to test and enhance your abilities." As the crew returned to their quarters, Selene reflected on the events of the day. This was not imprisonment, this was not punishment, this was opportunity, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and perhaps to redefine themselves. Lyra spoke softly. "Do you think we can trust them?" Selene considered this. "Trust is not given lightly," she said. "But we can observe, learn, and decide based on evidence. They are fair, logical, and precise. That is a different kind of challenge than what we've faced before." Kale's eyes shone with excitement. "It feels like we're finally doing something important. Not just surviving, but actually making a difference." Myra nodded. "I've never imagined we'd be given tools like this. If we can master them, we could accomplish more than any raid ever did." Selene felt a surge of pride in her crew. They had survived ambushes, evaded hunters, and outsmarted transport fleets. Now, they faced a new kind of test, a test of intellect, adaptability, and courage in a world that demanded more than survival. That night, as the stars twinkled beyond the transparent walls of the facility, Selene reflected on the path ahead. The humans had offered more than freedom, had offered growth, purpose, and a chance to transform into something greater. But with opportunity came responsibility. Every choice, every action would shape their future. The pirates were no longer just survivors. They were students, strategists, and potentially guardians of human colonies. Selene looked at her crew, each absorbed in preparation for the next exercise. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we learn more. We observe, we adapt, and we prove that humans, especially us, can rise to any challenge." The stars outside remained silent witnesses to the transformation underway. The game had changed. Selene and her crew were no longer ordinary pirates. They were part of an experiment, a test of ingenuity, skill, and courage, and they were ready to embrace it. In the quiet hum of the facility, the pirates prepared for the next day, unaware that their choices, intelligence, and unity would soon astonish the humans who had captured them. The experiment had begun. Morning light spilled across the observation facility, painting the walls in soft shades of white and silver. For Selene and her crew, the day began like any other, yet it was unlike any day they had ever known. The exercises they had started were no longer just simulations. They were becoming lessons in thinking, adapting, and working as part of something bigger than themselves. The officer who had overseen their first simulation entered, his calm expression unchanged. "Today," he said, "you will begin the next stage of training. This stage focuses on coordination, strategy, and creative problem solving. You will work as a team with humans to complete a multi-layered mission. Success will depend on trust, communication, and ingenuity." Selene exchanged a glance with Lyra, Kale, and Myra. "A team with humans," she repeated. "Interesting. Let's see how that goes." The crew was led to a large room where several human trainees awaited. The humans were dressed in practical suits designed for zero-gravity operations, just like the pirates. They were polite, curious, and observant. Unlike any rival or pirate hunter, they treated Selene's crew as equals, not threats. Selene stepped forward. "I'm Captain Selene, and these are my crew. We may not share your history, but we can share our skills. Let's work together." A human officer nodded. "Good. You will pair with human team members for this exercise. Each pair will manage part of the mission, but coordination is essential. Remember, the scenario is dynamic. Challenges will change, and only collaboration will succeed." The mission projection came to life, a holographic model of a distant colony under environmental strain. Meteor showers, energy shortages, and unstable communication lines challenged every system. "This looks complicated," Myra muttered, tracing the holographic pathways. Selene smiled. "Complicated is what we do best. Look at it as a puzzle. Each piece must fit, but there are multiple solutions. And the more minds working together, the better." The exercise began. Selene and her human partner analyzed the colony's structure. Meteors threatened the outer energy grid, and communication lines were unreliable. Selene quickly realized that traditional strategies would not work. Instead, she suggested a combination of solutions: rerouting power through alternate conduits, creating a temporary communication network, and using small drones to repair the outer grid. Her partner, impressed, followed her lead. "That's clever. I wouldn't have thought of that approach." Selene's team moved seamlessly. Lyra coordinated navigation for the drones, Kale monitored communication signals, and Myra managed the structural integrity of the colony's systems. The humans adapted quickly to their methods, learning to see problems from a new perspective. "This is amazing," Lyra whispered as they adjusted to a sudden surge in power demand. "We're actually working together, not against each other." The officer observed from a distance, noting how effectively the pirates integrated with the humans. "Notice," he told another observer, "they are learning faster than expected. Their adaptability is exceptional." Hours passed and challenges increased. Energy fluctuations became more severe, meteors struck closer, and a sudden system-wide signal failure tested everyone's ability to improvise. Selene's crew responded calmly. They used patterns from previous exercises to anticipate the failures, and soon the human team members were following their lead, trusting their decisions and inputs. Kale smiled as she restored communication networks. "We've come a long way from raiding convoys. Now we're problem solvers for real." Myra laughed softly. "And they said pirates only destroy things. We're building, saving, protecting." Selene felt a wave of pride. Her crew had transformed in less than a week from captured pirates into respected operatives. They had learned to trust humans, to teach them without arrogance, and to think beyond their past limitations. By evening, the exercise concluded successfully. The colony was stabilized, the energy grids restored, and communication fully functional. The humans cheered quietly, impressed by the pirates' ingenuity and leadership. "You have exceeded expectations," the officer said. "Your creativity and teamwork have shown us that skill, intelligence, and courage are universal qualities. You have transformed yourself not by abandoning who you are, but by expanding it." Selene nodded. "We adapted because we had to survive, and we learned because we wanted to. Growth is always a choice." The officer smiled faintly. "Tomorrow will be more complex. You will participate in field exercises, combining knowledge with real-time application. It will test your ability to make rapid decisions under pressure and collaborate with humans in unfamiliar environments." That night, the pirates gathered in their quarters. The room was small but comfortable, with enough space for all of them to sit together and discuss the day. "We're changing," Lyra said quietly. "I feel stronger, smarter, more capable, but different too, not just pirates anymore." Kale nodded. "I've never imagined working with humans like this, and yet it feels natural. Their logic, their patience, their systems, they challenge us to think better." Myra added, "We're learning without realizing it sometimes. Each exercise teaches strategy, adaptability, and teamwork. I can't believe how much we've improved in just a few days." Selene looked at her crew, her heart swelling with pride. "That's exactly what this is about. Transformation isn't about giving up who you are. It's about becoming more than you were. We retain our cunning, our creativity, and our unity, but now we also have knowledge, tools, and trust that can take us further." Lyra hesitated. "Do you think humans will ever fully accept us? We were pirates after all." Selene smiled softly. "Acceptance is earned, not given. And every day we earn it, not by proving we were once something else, but by showing we can be useful, intelligent, and capable. That is enough." The next morning, the field exercise began. The crew was transported to a training station orbiting a planet with a rugged surface. Holographic markers indicated areas where resources were stored, potential hazards, and objectives to secure. "This is it," Selene said. "Everything we've learned comes together now. Strategy, teamwork, observation, apply it all." The exercise required rapid adjustments. Communication lines faltered, terrain shifted unpredictably, and minor energy malfunctions demanded immediate solutions. Selene and her crew led human partners through each challenge, balancing creative thinking with precise execution. At one point, a supply module became isolated due to a simulated landslide. Myra quickly designed a mechanical system using small drones to stabilize and move the module safely. Lyra navigated the drones through a narrow canyon, while Kale maintained communications. Selene coordinated the entire effort, giving clear, calm instructions that allowed the humans to participate fully. By the end of the exercise, the team had not only completed all objectives, but also discovered innovative methods to improve efficiency and safety. The humans praised the pirates for their ingenuity, and the officers noted the rapid improvement in leadership and problem-solving skills. "You have transformed yourselves," the officer said once again. "Not as captives, not as outsiders, but as collaborators. You have demonstrated that human ingenuity and adaptability know no bounds, regardless of past labels." Selene felt a quiet satisfaction. "We have learned much, but there is more to come. We will continue to grow, to observe, and to adapt. And when the real challenges arrive, we will be ready." That night, the pirates stood together by a viewport, gazing at the stars. Each one reflected on the journey so far, the raids, the capture, the training, and the slow but steady transformation into something new. "We've changed," Kale said softly, "but we're still us, still clever, still determined. Only now we have tools, knowledge, and allies that make us stronger." Myra smiled. "And for the first time, we're not running from something, we're running toward a purpose." Lyra added, "A purpose that's bigger than survival, bigger than any treasure we could steal." Selene nodded, her eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. "Exactly. We've learned that adaptability, courage, and intelligence are the real treasures. And with them we can face whatever comes next together. The transformation was not complete. There were still lessons to learn, still challenges ahead. But the pirates had already become something more, a team capable of brilliance, strategy, and unity. The humans who had captured them had not just restrained them. They had inspired them, challenged them, and shown them a path toward greatness. And as the stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, Selene knew that the next stage, the true test, was coming. But for the first time, she felt confident that her crew was ready. The game had changed, and the pirates were no longer just survivors. They were innovators, collaborators, and a force that even humans had not fully anticipated. The stars shone like scattered gems across the void as Selene and her crew prepared for their first real mission beyond simulations. The humans had fully integrated them into a specialized task force, a team of both humans and the former pirates, ready to respond to emergencies across the colony network. Today would test everything they had learned: strategy, coordination, and ingenuity. A holographic projection displayed the scenario. One of the outer colonies, Veridia 7, was facing a severe environmental crisis. A sudden magnetic storm had caused energy fluctuations in the colony's systems, while the automated drones managing supply lines had gone offline. If not corrected, critical resources would be lost. Selene studied the map carefully. "This is bigger than any simulation," she said. "We're responsible for lives, supplies, and the colony's survival, but we're ready. We know our strengths and we know how to work together." Lyra at her side nodded. "And we've practiced this. Every challenge they throw at us, we can handle it if we stay coordinated." The officer in charge addressed the team. "You will be dispatched to Veridia 7 immediately. Your objectives: restore energy systems, bring drones back online, and stabilize critical resource flows. Use all tools at your disposal. We trust your judgment." Selene glanced at her crew. "Remember, every decision counts. We work fast, we work smart, and we work as a team." The task force's ship, a sleek vessel equipped for rapid response, lifted off from the station. Selene's heart beat steadily. This was the moment to prove themselves, not to survive, but to excel. As the ship approached Veridia 7, the scale of the situation became clear. Lightning-like arcs danced across the atmosphere, reflecting off the colony's metallic domes. Drones floated aimlessly, unable to maintain programmed routes. Power grids flickered, threatening to shut down entirely. Selene took a deep breath. Focus on priorities. First, stabilize energy. Second, regain drone control. Third, optimize supply distribution. Lyra, you manage navigation and coordination. Kale, communications. Myra, engineering. I'll oversee the strategy and overall flow. The crew sprang into action. Lyra quickly charted safe flight paths for maintenance drones, avoiding storm zones. Kale restored partial communication links, ensuring real-time updates from the colony's central hub. Myra directed power reallocation, rerouting energy from non-critical systems to stabilize life support and essential services. "Systems are responding," Myra reported, her fingers flying across holographic controls. "Energy fluctuations are decreasing and automated functions are partially restored." Selene smiled faintly. "Good, keep monitoring, adjust as needed. Kale, can you bring all drones back online?" Kale's eyes gleamed with concentration. "Yes. It's delicate work, but I can synchronize their AI with the backup network. It will take some time, though." Time was not a problem for Selene's team. They had learned patience under pressure. They had learned to observe, adapt, and think creatively. Each step of the mission was a test of coordination and ingenuity, and the pirates, now transformed operatives, thrived under it. A sudden surge of energy disrupted the restored systems. Sparks flickered across some modules and drones wobbled in the air. Selene remained calm. Myra stabilized the affected modules. Lyra reroute drone paths around the surge. Kale maintain communications and monitor for further disruptions. Working together, they solved the problem quickly. The colony system stabilized, drones resumed their programmed routes, and power grids reached steady levels. Humans and pirates alike admired the efficiency and composure of the team. "This is incredible," one of the human officers muttered quietly. "They're doing what no simulation could fully prepare them for." Cellini's crew continued with the final task, optimizing resource distribution. Supply modules had been displaced by the storm, leaving some areas vulnerable to shortages. Using a combination of drone coordination, strategic planning, and rapid adjustments, the team ensured that every critical sector received what it needed. Lyra guided drones through narrow passages, avoiding debris. Myra adjusted modules with precision, ensuring stability. Kale maintained communication across multiple channels, keeping humans and drones aligned with the plan. Cellini orchestrated the entire operation, anticipating problems before they appeared. Hours passed, and gradually the colony stabilized. Energy grids were fully operational, drones were back under control, and resources reached all critical areas. The storm began to wane, leaving the colony intact, functional, and safe. The officer overseeing the mission approached Cellini. "Remarkable work. Your team's ingenuity, adaptability, and leadership have ensured the colony's survival. You have demonstrated what few thought possible, that former pirates, when given guidance and opportunity, can become exceptional human operatives." Cellini allowed herself a small smile. "We adapted because we had to. We learned because we wanted to. And we worked as a team because we trust each other. That is what made this possible." The human team members nodded in agreement, impressed by the pirates' transformation. For the first time, they saw Cellini and her crew not as criminals, but as partners, capable, intelligent, and invaluable. Back on the task force's ship, Cellini gathered her crew. "We did it," she said. "Not just survived, not just completed the mission, but excelled. And we proved something important. Being human is about more than origin or title. It's about courage, creativity, and collaboration." Kale leaned back, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. "We've gone from pirates to protectors, and honestly, it feels amazing." Myra laughed softly. "I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but I actually like being part of a team that saves colonies instead of raiding them." Lyra smiled. "And the humans respect us. They trust our judgment. That's more than any pirate crew could expect." Cellini looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of quiet triumph. "We've learned a lot, but the galaxy is vast. Challenges will continue to appear. What matters is that we are ready for them, not just as individuals, but as a team. And today, we've proven that humans, even those once considered outlaws, can rise to any challenge." The officer approached once more. "Your performance today has astonished us, not because you succeeded, but because of how you succeeded. Creativity, intelligence, courage, and cooperation. You have shown qualities that we value above all else. You have redefined what it means to be human, to adapt, and to contribute." Cellini felt a rush of pride. "Thank you. We've learned that being human is not about following rules blindly. It's about thinking, adapting, and caring about the consequences of your actions." That evening, as the task force returned to the station, the crew reflected on their journey. From pirates to captives, from simulations to real missions, they had grown in ways they had never imagined. They were stronger, smarter, and more confident. "We've come a long way," Lyra said, her voice quiet but firm. "And the best part is we're only getting started." Kale nodded. "Every mission will be a new challenge, but now we know we can face it and win." Myra added, "Not just win, but do it in ways no one expects. That's what makes us different, and that's our strength." Cellini looked at her crew, her heart full of pride and hope. "We've learned that capture was not the end. It was the beginning of something greater. And now we are not just survivors. We are innovators, leaders, and protectors. The galaxy should take note. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, Selene realized the truth of what they had achieved. Their journey from pirates to captives to heroes was not defined by fear or misfortune, but by courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to learn and adapt. And in the quiet hum of the station, the crew understood one thing. Being human in its truest sense meant rising to challenges with intelligence, cooperation, and determination, no matter what the past held. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and full of opportunity. And Captain Selene, with her transformed crew, was ready to face it all. The astonishing outcome was clear. Former pirates had become heroes, and their story would be remembered not for their crimes, but for their courage, intelligence, and the choices that made them extraordinary. And somewhere in the stars, humanity watched and learned that even the unlikeliest individuals could rise to greatness when given the chance and the wisdom to use it.